Good evening. It's The Journey, show number 12. And today we got guest number 10. 10's a big number. And they said it couldn't happen, but I'm so proud of Brad Barco, my co-host, and Jordan LaRoche, the Fan Shop Kid, our producer director. Incredible job. Remember, we're going to be taking next week off as it is a long weekend, Labor Day. I can't believe it's almost September. We're going to jump right into it. We got a great guest. This guy is, man, he has gone through a lot of things in his short life, and he is just an absolute warrior is probably the best way to put it. But before we bring him up, let's bring up all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, my co-host, the one, the only Brad Barco, on the journey with Barts and Rosey. Hey, brother.
Paul, how you doing, man? I'm always fired up when we have a guest. It seems like fire after fire after fire after fire, both you and me together, and it just keeps getting better and better. I almost don't want to take next week off because we're on a roll. But what better way to kick it off tonight than I call him a friend. I'll call him a friend. He'll probably call me a friend too. But my friend Justin Rayner, all the way from Regina, Saskatchewan. You mentioned it in story, and you talk about disability upon ability. This guy has overcome so much, and we're going to talk. You've seen it. I've seen it now. A viral video, I believe, Barstool. I saw it on Barstool Sports. They picked it up. He was on skates on a special machine for the first time in 16 years. I'm so proud of this guy. So excited to have him on. Let's bring him up. Justin Rayner. Justin, thanks so much for joining us, man. We appreciate having you.
Hey, thank you for having me on the journey. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I would absolutely call you a friend. We've been buddies for a while now, so.
That's I'll take myself as a friend to be, since I don't know you, but man, I know the story from reading up on it. And hey, Justin, before you get into what exactly happened to you, this is really a brainchild of Brad and myself. But what we put it together about 3.5, 4 months ago. We wanted people in the able-bodied community to see disability as ability, and we wanted people in the disabled community, instead of sitting around, to see that they could take something that was an obstacle and turn it into an opportunity. You epitomize that, turning something really tragic into something incredible. So I just want to thank you so much. I'm so proud to have you on the show, and I'm going to slip it over to my partner, Brad Barco.
Yeah, Justin, I echo, as I just said, everything Paul said. I admire you. I respect you. And as I tell every guest on this show, it's harder, obviously, you're not having video due to circumstances, and that's okay. But if you can, be the artist right now. I'm going to give you a canvas. Paint us a picture of your story, of your journey. Take us all the way back to the beginning. Maybe start at your hockey career into your injury, and then obviously to where it's taken you and where you are now. The floor is yours, man. Take it away.
Yeah, so growing up, I grew up as a pretty athletic kid. I played a lot of sports growing up. I raced provincial motocross. I played baseball in the summers. Played pretty high-end hockey. Played provincial volleyball, so I was a really athletic kid growing up, and I was living out at my dad's place at the time, which is an hour past Swift Current, out in the Lancer, Abbey, Cabry area, and we were in Hodgeville one night in Bantam, first year Bantam, game on a Friday night. Game was 2-1 for Hodgeville at the time, and I ended up getting a breakaway in the second period. And I just took off as fast as I could and got in on the goalie and tried to deke him out a little bit, and lost my balance and ended up shooting the puck and watching the puck instead of putting my hands up, and looked back right at the last second before hitting the boards, and just went in head first and ended up suffering a spinal cord injury at the C4-5 level. and I've been paralyzed now for going on 17 years this December.
Wow. And let me tell you, if we can, Justin, we have the video of you on skates. And correct me if I'm wrong. This was this week, or this week that just passed. Walk us through kind of how it made you feel for the first time being up on your feet, and then we're gonna get our producer Jordan to cue the video up, and as soon as you finish talking, we'll play the video for our audience.
Yeah, so this actually took place 2 winters ago, actually.
Okay.
The video's just been sitting collecting dust on my phone, to be honest. I wasn't quite, healed enough to post it publicly yet. I hadn't even shown my family or anyone really, other than my mom and my best buddy. And of course, my buddies that were at the rink with me that day, and some of the First Step staff and whatnot. So yeah, I was just scrolling my phone the other night, and I was like, "Oh, this video! Like, I feel comfortable enough posting it now," and I just put it out there, and it went viral. And yeah, so it's the first time I got back up on skates. I finally got to a point in rehab where I could do something like that, and yeah, first time back on skates in 16 years, and it was the same pair of skates that I actually ended up getting paralyzed in. So it was a really healing event for me. I had a good cry at the edge of the ice before I went out there, and yeah, it was a really healing day. So
Wow, unbelievable. Now we're showing it right now. There you go on the. You've got
so this machine's called a light gate, and basically you see the opening where my skates are too. So that thing can go over top of a treadmill as well. So I go to a gym called First Steps Wellness Center in Regina, and this is their piece of equipment. And so sometimes when I'm at the gym there, we also get on a treadmill, and they move my legs for me to simulate walking. So
wow,
it's an awesome piece of equipment for sure.
Yeah, unbelievable. Hey, we've got Barry Monroe on our first show a long time ago. It seems like a long time ago. And he's the head of the spinal cord research department in Canada, and does a lot in the U.S. Shoot for a Cure, the Lyndhurst Hospital. They have come a long way in spinal cord research, and hopefully one day they'll be able to make it that you can walk again. I want to ask you, we all three of us have different disabilities. Brad is in a chair with CP, and I lost my leg in June of 1999. I don't know if you get asked this question, Justin. I get asked it when I do talks, and so your day was December 2nd, 2004, correct? The date of the accident?
Yep. 8:36 p.m.
So I lost my leg on June 9th, 1999, and every once in a while somebody will say to me, "Hey Rosie, what do you do on June the 9th?" It's been 22 years now, and I was just wondering, does December 2nd, does it have an emotional tie to you? So many people are always interested in that day when it comes to me. I was wondering how you feel.
Yeah, so every year it's different for me. Back in the day, it used to be a really emotional day for me. A kind of a self-pity day, I guess I would say, before I kind of changed my outlook on life a little bit. But now I kind of call it my quadiversary, and I kind of have a little party for myself, and I'm like, man, I'm a badass. I've made it through some gnarly stuff, and yeah, so I kind of have a little party with some buddies and celebrate my accident, I guess, my accident day. That's kind of dark, I guess, in a way, but that's just the way I deal with it. So
Yeah, I don't think it's dark, to be really honest with you. I had the first probably 7-8 years where I wouldn't even go out. June 9th, I just sat home and cried. And Yep. You would think when I was out, like I was Mr., I didn't care about my leg, missing my leg. The last number of years I've stayed around family. And I'm going to ask you one more question and throw it over to Brad. He's going to get some cool things. Always am interested when it comes to disability and somebody, whether they're young or old, the amount of strength that comes from family. And you mentioned real quick about your mom there. How important was from that day, December 2nd, on the family in this journey that you're on?
Yeah, family's a huge thing for me, for recovery, for healing, for living my day-to-day life. Um, my parents got divorced when I was really young. I was 2 years old when they got divorced. They both have new partners, so I got to thank my mom, my dad, my stepmom, my stepdad, uh, all my brothers and sisters. Like they've always all been there for me. My mom and dad used to spend just weeks on end at the hospital, and sometimes I feel bad about that too, because my siblings kind of didn't get much time with my parents when I was going through the thick of it there in the hospital. So they were at the hospital a lot, getting exhausted, sleeping on a cot at the end of my bed in ICU. So yeah, it was a pretty intense time, and I can't even imagine all the sleepless nights they had as parents and whatnot. So yeah, I love them a lot. It's really important to me, family.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad?
Justin, I can definitely speak on that. You know, family is everything. My mom had me at 16 years old and sacrificed everything for me. This is all I've known is being in a
Yeah.
chair and don't know anything different. So, one more serious one before we get into the cool and fun stuff. I got to ask you, Justin, about your mindset. You know, because you've experienced both sides. You've experienced the ability to walk and quote unquote, I use this lightly, quote unquote, experience a normal life, and now you've experienced the other side of life, so to speak. I use that lightly, but how is your did that change your mindset at all when you all of a sudden became a quad, a person in a wheelchair? Did your life obviously change physically, but you finally sit there and go, oh my God, like I have a whole new outlook, I have a whole new perspective on people that live with this on a day-to-day basis, or what was your mindset like, and obviously what is it like now?
Yeah, so I mean, at first, to go from being an extremely athletic kid, playing a bunch of sports, being an athlete was my entire identity, basically. I wasn't very good in school. Like my goal was to take sports as far as it was going to take me in life, and then maybe after that, get a trades job or something like that. Always being physical. I never wanted to sit around and do nothing really. And ironically, I get paralyzed and now I'm in a chair 24/7. And that was really difficult to deal with at first. I went through a number of years of depression, self pity, anger. Um, I didn't even like hockey for a little bit, for 2 to 3 years. I couldn't watch the game on TV. I couldn't go to the rink. I was jealous. I was envious. Um, I was mad. Like, and then I met some guys in chairs. Clayton Garine being one of them. Cowboy, another guy that I met. They're Paralympians. Came up to talk to me, and they're just full of life. They're ripped dudes. They got tattoos. Some of them, like smiles on their faces. They're just living life. They're married. They have kids. They're traveling the world. They're talking to schools. And those guys showed me life can be super fulfilling after an injury still. Like you don't need to walk to have a fulfilling life. You can rip around in your chair and do all the things you did before your injury. You just might not be an NHL player anymore, right? So
Yeah.
that was really where my mindset changed. And yeah, and then you go through rehab, you start getting some function back, and yeah, you kind of see some people that chose to stay in their room and get depressed, and they've been like that for years. And you see some guys that are moving on with their life and living, and I just I woke up one day and I chose to go the direction of living my life and keeping it moving.
And Justin, I'm the same way. So I think that's why you and I kind of get along so well. We
Yep.
envision the same things, and I think that's another thing I just respect about you is you don't feel sorry for yourself. You're just, hey, this is my life now. This is me. I'm going to continue forward. And I got one more than Paul, and then I'm going to end with one or two more, Justin, if that's okay. But I want to now get into the fun stuff just a little bit. Now you're talking about moving life, and life is moving forward for you. Well, you ended up, correct me if I'm wrong, working with the Moose Jaw Warriors, you know, as a scout or in that department. I mean, walk us through kind of that story. How did that start, and how's it going now, and what's it like working in the WHL?
Yeah. So like as I said before, I got to the point where I didn't like hockey for a little bit, and after you start to heal a little bit, you kind of get the itch back. You start watching hockey again, and that passion, like that was my life's passion, right? Hockey beforehand. I wanted to play in the WHL and then go to the NHL. That was my goal. Um, so the bug started to come back little by little, and the passion just reignited. And I started scouting at home by myself with buddies, and we'd do a draft party every year for the NHL draft. Obviously, I'm a big Oilers fan, so we'd always just like do our mock drafts, see who would get the closest, and I was always pretty accurate at picking where guys would go, what teams would do with their picks, the type of players teams needed. So yeah, we just that's how I started scouting at home, doing reports by myself, and then my best friend who also comes to those draft parties, his mom works in the admin department for the Warriors, and I bugged her and him for about 4 or 5 years to get an interview with the GM, and she finally got me in there, and the rest is history. Yeah, I got hired 5 years ago with the Warriors as a scout, and been with them ever since in the WHL.
Fantastic guy on there. As you looks like you're in your office. A couple of pictures behind you.
Yeah, a couple jerseys. My jersey's on the bottom there, and that's a Clark Gillies jersey on the top.
Clark Jethro, one of my favorite all-time New York Islanders, number 9. The won a few Stanley Cups. Jethro.
He's a huge guy. He came to visit me in rehab. Just a massive man, huge hands.
He didn't get the nickname Jethro for being a small guy. Jethro Bodine from the Beverly Hillbillies. You guys are way too young for that. But I'm actually really glad, that you mentioned the depression a little and things that happened at the very beginning, because, a lot of people just think, and where you are now is phenomenal, and I am so proud of you. But at the very beginning, there is depression, and there's reasons why me, and we all have gone through it. I know Brad's in a little different situation because he was born with a disability, but he still had those mindset days. But when you said the Paralympians, and this is what I love and what I want to key on for a second, and then I'll throw it back to Brad. I had a chance when I lost my leg to meet a guy, and you had a picture of you in a wheelchair rugby chair to meet a kid after I lost my leg, Shane Smith, who is in Tokyo right now competing for the wheelchair rugby team. Unfortunately, they ended up in 5th place. He got me to get that attitude of sport is okay at a different level. And I ended up playing in 3 Paralympic Games with a sled hockey team as your goalie. Totally changed my mindset when the guys came into my room, when Shane came in, and you said that same thing. How important is it for you now, Justin, to turn it around, pay it forward, and go and show guys that and gals that have become into the disability club recently that, hey, man, there's more to life than just a wheelchair or an artificial limb?
Yeah, it's definitely like anytime I hear about a new injury, I always try to reach out and be like, hey, if you ever need to talk to anyone or you get to the point where you're comfortable having visitors or whatever, I'll come up and speak to you, come hang out, whatever. It's tougher than it looks, though, because you can't really share that information. So you kind of have to hear it through the grapevine.
Right.
There's nothing really set up for people to like, hey, this person just got paralyzed. Like, let's get some really cool people up there to talk to them and help them through it. There's not really anything like that in Saskatchewan set up. So you the only way you hear about it is through like, oh, my mom has a friend that's a nurse in the hospital and she says, hey, this guy's just got paralyzed at work or whatever kind of thing. Right. So, but yeah, anytime I hear about it, I definitely try to reach out because it's so important for the healing process to see other people in your situation that are still living life to the fullest. And you're right. Like when you're first going through it, like when people see us now, they're always like, you're so inspirational. Like, how do you have the attitude to keep going? And it's like, it wasn't always like that. I had to go through years of healing, years of adjusting my mental to living in a chair. Like there was dark days of depression, anger, pity, doubt, embarrassment, I guess, even from going from an athlete to a paralyzed guy with no muscles. Like it's tough to handle for sure at first. So you'd go through years and years and years of healing. And I don't know if that ever really ends. You just have less terrible days, and you have a lot more better days ahead, right? When you're healing. So like that's what I would say to people, because they're always like, "Oh, you're always so happy. You're always like full of life," and I'm like, "Yeah, because I work on that. I
Yeah.
purposely wake up and make myself enjoy the day and live the day to the fullest, because
Yeah.
I've seen the other side of that, and like it's not fun to be going through that depression at the time when you are." So
And that's exactly it, Justin. I got the same mindset as you. We don't wake up we don't wake up happy. I have to instill that in myself. I gotta tell myself positive affirmations. I gotta tell myself, you know what, I am great. I am gonna be great. And you brought up the inspirational message. For me, it's you kind of get used to it, but you're like, hey, great. If I can inspire one person, I mean, sure, great, whatever. You want to take my story, run with it. If that gives you motivation to do what you need to do, then go ahead and do that. But I myself don't see myself as an inspiration. I'm just a normal guy with four wheels strapped to my ass, and I'm here trying to make a
yep.
difference. Quickly, Jordan's going to bring up a message from one of our viewers, Robert Wine. He goes, Paul, my mindset about myself in sport changed 100% after meeting you.
That's awesome.
Robert, thank you so much as always for your continued support. Paul has changed a lot of people's lives, and we thank him for that. And I thank him for being in my corner every single day. And Justin, I want to, I knew there was a reason why I loved you. In many ways, we are connected, and you mentioned the Edmonton Oilers. So I'd be remiss not to ask you about the Edmonton Oilers, and obviously
That's where our suffering is happening now. Being long-term Oiler fans, we're going through it right now.
This is correct, yeah. But I got to ask you, Ken Holland took a lot of heat this summer. Cody Ceci, Duncan Keith, re-signing Mike Smith, and the big ticket, Zach Hyman. In your expertise, in your opinion, how good will the Oilers be this year? Will they be better? And is this a playoff team?
I mean, anytime you have Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid leading the way, you're going to probably be close to a playoff team. Those two in 2017 got us to the playoffs virtually by themselves. So,
you are correct.
I mean, I think we're going to be better offensively, maybe a little worse defensively, and it's going to depend on if Mike Smith can have another heater at 39. I like all the players we brought in. I just feel like some of the prices we paid were a little steep for what we acquired and what we gave up, but such is life. I mean, it's Edmonton. You gotta deal with what you got, and I'm sure other teams in the league know that Edmonton's under a crunch to get to the playoffs, and that's just part of negotiating. I mean, I've been involved with that in the dub too. It's just part of negotiations, and sometimes you pay a little much, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, and we got to remember, this isn't California living on a beach.
Yeah.
We're still in Edmonton. There's 6 to 8 months of winter, depending who you ask. Sometimes it's a tough sell, but anytime you got 97 and 29 you mentioned in your corner is that's I think an easy selling point for some guys, especially, and it seemed to be the case for a guy like Zach Hyman. Now, my last one for you, Justin, and this one's going to be fun. I'm a gamer. You're a gamer as well, and you're. I'm not so much into esports. I don't think I'm that good to get to that level. But you're an esports guy. Talk us to us about that journey, how that started, how that began, and your new team now and getting ready for the year.
Yeah, so I basically got into gaming. Well, I've been a gamer my entire life, obviously. If I wasn't playing sports, I was playing video games like a lot of kids our age, right? So, well, I guess we're not kids anymore, but you know what I mean. So I've been gaming my entire life, but I got into NHL gaming about 2 years ago. NHL 20 came out. My buddies got me into it, and I was not very good at skater because it requires too much hand function to do anything. So they were like, hey, hop in net. I was like, okay, I'm not going to be good though because my hands suck. I didn't think I would be able to play it, and it just turns out that's my position for sure. So I've been working my way up the ranks of the esports world, the competitive NHL world, and just joined a team called Recaptured with good buddy Ego Killer, and we're gonna enter the Kings Coast Cup tournament coming up soon. So should be good. I'm the backup goalie for that team for that tournament, so really excited about it.
That's awesome, man. And what is that? What is that like? Like what does that entail? Being an e-sport gamer. Like for me, I turn it on. I turn on franchise mode and I play. But for you, is there a preparation? Like a lot of preparation that goes into this? Like being a backup goalie, when your number's called, you got to get in there. Typically, when you're in net, it's not a good situation if the starter's being cold and you're the next guy up. But let's talk to us about that. I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, so basically, like it kind of gives me the feeling of the competitive aspect of being on a team again. At the esports level, there's lots of practice. There's lots of chatter in our Discord after games, before games, what our plan is. Lots of strategizing. We'd go over our power play, penalty kill, zone entries, all that kind of stuff. Simple things like who's going to carry the puck across the blue line in a zone entry. Depending on the opponent we're playing, basically like can change who's gonna do what. Lots of practice, lots of preparation, and basically when you get in the net, it's kind of pressure packed and gives you those competitive juices again. And it's just it's your 6 guys against their 6 guys, and you're trying to win.
Justin, you can't see her right now, but my wife, because my wheels are turning, I'm like, oh, I want to play, let's go. And my wife's like, no.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're gonna have to get you in some games one of these nights.
I'd love to.
I'll get you out on the ice for sure, the virtual ice.
yeah. I'd love to get in there. Hey, Justin, thank you so much, man. Like truly honored, privileged to have you on, privileged to do this. Honored to know more about your story. I knew bits and pieces, but now I know the full thing, and just a ton more respect for you. Glad to call you a friend. Glad to call you a brother. I am so grateful. I'm so thankful for you, and thank you for your time. And we'll do this again very, very soon, man.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure, and I'm glad to call you a friend too, Brad. And it was great meeting you, Paul, and hopefully we'll build that friendship as we go too.
Absolutely, Justin. It was an absolute honor. Keep moving forward, brother.
Always.
Great. Wow. You talk about, like, we talk every week, we talk off camera with Jordan and that, but we just keep getting guests on, Brad, that have just overcome, imagine December 2nd, 2004, you're a hockey player, you're going on the boards, a breakaway, you slip bum, and your life changes. Just like that, just a snap of the finger, you're paralyzed. And he had some demons at the beginning, but look where he is right now. Robert Wine tonight was awesome, like always. And Robert Wine, he battled himself. It says came up, July 19th was the date of his injury a long time ago. And guys like Kerry Goulet that he talked to first. You have to have a mentor in your corner when you become disabled at an older age. And when you're disabled from birth, you have your family there, like you did, Brad. But when something happens later in life, man, you have to have somebody there to just give you that push. And man, I was so excited to have him on. What a great guest, Brad.
Yeah, and look, the guests just keep getting better and better as we keep getting better and better. But I envision this as a platform for people to, give them that canvas, for them to become that painter. We're just kind of the puppeteers in a sense, and I am so like that just blew my mind, and I knew right away. I seen that video last week. I didn't know it was a couple years old. He just posted it again last week. I knew we had to get him on, and what an incredible story. And you mentioned life can change in an absolute. It doesn't need to take hours. It doesn't need to take years. It could take literally seconds. The guy's got his head turned on a breakaway, trying to score on a goalie, and bang, snaps his neck. He wakes up, he's paralyzed, and life and a new chapter to life is now beginning. He's got to relearn how to do everything again. Absolutely incredible to where he's come from to where he is now. We use the word, I don't use it lightly, but inspiration, of course, a motivator for me as well, being in the community, I'm sure for you. And these are guys that we got to rally behind. These are guys we got to rally, with. And these are the guys that can help make change and help bring people with disabilities to the forefront and to the table.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And since you said that, people that are watching, if you're watching and you like the show, if you tell a friend, tell a neighbor, if you know somebody who's disabled and has taken their disability to another level, get in touch with one of us, with Brad Barco, with myself. My Twitter handle is @Rosen57. Let us know. We want to get as many people in the world who have gone through a disability and turned their life around, and like and share our show. That's I'm getting into all this. I know you're into it. We got the greatest producer in the world in the Fanshawe Kid, Jordan LaRoche. Hey, let's get into our heroes of the week. And you know what? My hero of the week is going to be, watching that video of Justin on that machine skating. My hero of the week is people that take the time and effort to get somebody who's gone through a tragic disability and give them the opportunity through equipment, through acknowledgement, through motivation, through different things to get themselves going. And whether it's a young man like Justin whose journey changed, or it's a young woman. We're going to have Jess Silver on very shortly, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. That's my hero of the week. Just people that continuously strive to get the disabled community to another level. Brad, your hero of the week?
Yeah, incredible stuff as always. My hero of the week is the Paralympian swimmer who she won a gold medal this week. And crazy, you should have seen her reaction. I caught it after. I didn't see it live, but I caught it after. She broke her own world record in the pool this week. Just absolutely incredible, absolutely sensational. The way, these athletes, we talked about last week, but the way these athletes are performing, the way these athletes overcome their own challenges and continue to shine at one of the biggest stages, if not the biggest stage in the world. So you, the Paralympic swimmer, the Canadian Paralympic swimmer, I'm sorry I forgot her name, but she is my hero of the week. She broke her own world record in the pool without even knowing it, and just an absolutely incredible story.
Yeah, the Paralympic Games, I think closing ceremonies are tomorrow or coming up very soon in the next couple of days. Unfortunately, we didn't get the notoriety or the acknowledgement on national TV that we normally do through CBC and the election. We're not going to get political, but Justin Trudeau decided to call an election. And right in the heart of the Paralympic Games, you can get to watch different things on the internet, on the IPC's website, and on the CPC, Canadian Paralympic Committee's website. We got some incredible people, but you know what? It is what it is. The good thing about this year being a year behind is the next Paralympic Summer Games are in 3 years, not in 4 years. In 2026 in France and Paris. Hopefully. Hopefully we'll get the good effort. You want to say your good nights before I end the show, Mr. Barco?
Yeah, Paul, again, an incredible episode. As always, number 12. Of course, next week off. But I will see you next week. I'll be in Ontario. I'll be in Toronto. And then obviously Barrie for the remainder of the week. But in Toronto, the first night, catching a Blue Jays game, having some downtime with my wife. Hopefully meet you in Toronto. I know Robbie Fred as well, who's a good friend of ours and the show. We're gonna probably meet up as well. So there's a couple guys that I got to connect with in Ontario while I'm there. But I'm super excited and looking forward to to meeting up with you and of course Jordan and talk about the future. It's going to be amazing, and I can't wait.
Absolutely. So yes, we will be off next week. It is a long weekend, and we just love doing this. Justin, thank you, buddy, for coming on the show and taking the time to tell your story and show people that that you can achieve anything in your life if you put your mind to it. Obstacles are just opportunities in a different way. On behalf of my co-host Brad Barco, on behalf of Kerry Goulet and the Gooch Productions Live, and on behalf of our incredible producer, the Fanshawe Kid, Jordan LaRoche, I'm Paul Rosen. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and God bless.
Good night.